This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's number one show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sob like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. And I got my brother Tony Crow with me, ladies and gentlemen. Tony, what's good with you, bro? Gotta be feeling good after yesterday's win.
Oh, am I? That's how you bounce back, man. Jalen Brunson and the Knicks as a whole, that's how you bounce back.
No doubt about that. That was a great bounce back.
I think Brunson had more points in the first quarter than he had in the previous game.
Yeah. Brunson came out ready. He came out ready to rock, man. And so did Jose Alvarado. You know what I mean? What's your thoughts on what you're seeing from his game?
I mean, right. I'll be honest. Right now, I'm taking it as a game by game basis.
Mm-hmm.
So this one game, I was impressed. You know what I mean? We saw his signature move, if you will. You know what I mean? Twice in the game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We saw the full court defense and that intensity. We've seen him hit 2 threes, which you know what I mean, and those were threes that were, I'm gonna say, given to him with you know what I mean, guys going under as opposed to you know, forcing their way above the screen.
Right.
So yeah, immediate impact, right? And I think for him, that's what I'm looking for. Like, how do you impact the game? Because I'm not familiar with anything other than the highlight plays that we've seen over the years of those steals and you know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know more. I'm intrigued. But if you're gonna impact the game with what you do, game in and game out, I love it. And especially in Deuce's absence.
And I tell you what. You know, we were having a discussion. You know, where do you find room for him? Remember that? You know, and we were like, even with Deuce out, you know, he probably plays behind Tyler Kolek. And Mike Brown made it very clear, very, very clear that Alvarado is his guy. That's who he wants out there on the floor. 25 minutes yesterday. Very reminiscent of that when Derrick Rose came to the Knicks. Right? Very, very reminiscent of that. You know, he made it clear right off the bat. This dude is going to be on the floor. This dude is playing, and he's going to play a lot of minutes. 25 minutes yesterday. And it probably would have been more if the game was closer come down the stretch. You know what I'm saying?
That was very transparent of you. I don't know if I was gonna relieve that information of thinking Tyler was gonna play over him. Yeah. I was keeping that on the low, but you know, it's out there. It's true.
I mean, it's out there. Right. It's out there now. I mean, not that we were discounting him. I guess we were just looking at you know, Tyler's been here for a couple of years. You know what I'm saying?
His track record this year and his impact this year. We were looking at that.
Yeah, he's had an impact this year. You know what I mean? So, you know, but obviously Alvarado's much better defensively. You know, he's got a little more fire. And it seems to me like that's a Mike Brown guy. That's who he wants to be out there on the floor. You know what I mean? That's a Mike Brown guy. I don't think he's played for Mike Brown before, but Mike Brown wanted him so he's out there on the floor. And obviously, you know, from yesterday, from what we've seen yesterday, it's very good pickup. You know, very good pickup. What's something from him that you saw yesterday that you maybe didn't expect? Is there anything that you saw that maybe you didn't expect?
Well, let me start with, I didn't get to watch the second half in its entirety. I watched the first half, and then I had to go clock in at work. So, you know what I mean. I only really got to watch the highlights of the second half. So, um, I can't really pinpoint anything, other than, I was looking at anything that I wasn't familiar with. So the fact that he was knocking down the threes, um, the fact that, I'm listening to a lot of the chats, and they say he's a facilitator and he's a 2-point guard. So I'm looking to see that. He's also a lot faster than I knew he was. So you talk about pushing the pace, if he's able to utilize his speed, that becomes another weapon that, helps us fit what Mike Brown wants to do as well.
Right. I think the biggest thing for me was his facilitation skills. That was the biggest thing that I saw yesterday that I didn't know about him. Before he got to the team, that he was that much of a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think it's going to, I seen him run a pick and roll with Cat. I seen him run a pick and roll with Mitchell Robinson. And over time, those things have become more successful. He may be someone who, helps to unlock that second unit. Right? Jordan Clarkson played some yesterday. When Deuce is back, you figure Jordan Clarkson's going to be on the bench. Not really going to be playing from the trend, the way things have been going. So you look at the second unit, Deuce, Alvarado, Shamit, right? As far as the guards are concerned, probably Mo and Mitch. That's a defensive, that's a decent defensive lineup. But you also got someone to run the team out there. And Jose can also run the team in that first unit a little bit, as we've seen, playing side by side with Brunson. So, he may be a very good fit for this basketball team. He might be a very good fit. Yeah, I like it so far.
Heck of a debut.
Yeah, great debut, man. Great debut. 12 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. How much better could he have done? Did we expect him to do? You know what I mean?
And like I said earlier, son, what happens when he gets to the real Garden?
Word. Tomorrow night. Let's see what happens tomorrow night in the real Garden. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be, yeah. He's gonna be pumped. Crowd's gonna, family's gonna be pumped. That's gonna be fire. He's definitely excited for that. That's yeah. It's a feel good situation for him, for the Knicks, everything. You know what I mean? Let's take a look at what some of the Boston Celtics fans. Go ahead.
Real quick.
Yep.
Because you talked about the trends, right? When you talked about, Clarkson is probably out whenever Deuce gets back. And I think I might have asked you this before, but the trend, has been Mo gets his opportunities when OG's out.
Mm-hmm.
That has been the trend, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's true. True.
Can he find his way? Can Mike Brown find him as OG's backup? You know what I mean? When OG needs that rest, when OG's out the game, you know what I mean? I know you had said you think he's going to get Yabusele's minutes, which, even if that is the case, Yabusele's minutes were very similar in the sense that there were nights he didn't play at all. You know what I mean? And they were sparing. So he wasn't anyone's true backup.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's my question to you.
I think he
Can
can.
he break the trend?
I think he can. He's trending in the right direction. You know what I
It's
mean? To
something
be a
like
rotation
rivalry.
player. He looks more comfortable on the floor. You know what I mean? He plays decent defense. He's making good decisions with the ball. He's 4 for 4 yesterday. You know, from the field. He's showing that he can be reliable behind the arc, knocking down the three. So he's definitely trending in the right direction. You know what I mean? That's without a doubt. I'm expecting him to continue to get minutes. They may not always be 15 to 20 minutes, but I'm expecting him to continue to get minutes with this team.
Hope so.
Yeah,
I hope
you know
so.
what I mean. Yeah, no doubt. All right, we're talking about role players right now, so let's get to it. Chef Mo said, "Truly believe the role players cost the game for the Lakers, and while the Knicks role players won them the game, our role players, talking about the Celtics, for the most part, were suspect tonight, along with 8." I guess that's the thing about this Celtics team. Why, you know what I mean? No one expected them to be where they are right now. We'll see if they sustain it throughout the year. But they're not that deep. You know what I mean? They got a lot of players on the floor right now that you never even really heard of and all of that. But they're not that deep. Although they're well coached. They play tough. They play defense. They're still a team that I'm concerned about. Yesterday in the chat, Sean Richardson, are you still concerned? Yes, I'm still concerned about the Celtics because they're the Celtics and we're rivals. You know what I mean? Happens. You know what I mean? What do you feel about our role players right now and their role players?
I mean, last game our role players outshined theirs, but we got to be honest. A lot of their role players are champions. You know what I mean? A lot of their role players, not including last game, have stepped up in the absence of their main guys. So I'm gonna give their role players their respect. I think they filled a big hole with their recent addition
Yeah.
in that center position, and it helps to fill in a lot of what they or some of what they lost, because I thought they lost a lot with KP and Horford and even Cornette leaving. You know what I mean? Those are 3 rotational bigs.
Yeah.
However many minutes you want to divide it, those are 3 rotational bigs that they had lost, and they got a guy in that kind of plays the same role that they did.
Yeah. No doubt. Let's see what we want to talk about here. Talking about the rivalry between the two. Mordecai says we got to figure out the Knicks. We can't let them punk us again like the Pistons. We just got to figure it out. I know we can. The Knicks aren't great. Of course, you know you're getting that. The Knicks aren't great. We just got to play better. Figure these guys out. No repeat of last year down the road. I mean, that's the type of thing we're saying about the Pistons, right? We got to figure out the Pistons, as fans. And I'm seeing in the chat that the Pistons got, the Pistons and the Hornets got into a big fight. I didn't see it. You know what I mean? Got into a big fight that the Pistons are really trying to live up to that bad boy name. I mean, the way that they played, this is Kev. He said, was watching the Pistons-Hornets game. Fight broke out. Pistons really trying to live up to that bad boy Pistons name. I mean, I don't know. Are they trying, or if this just, what's who they are?
I think 2 things can be true. I think they are who they are, and that's true. I also think, I keep saying it, I think a lot of that is instilled by Bickerstaff.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is also based off of what we did to his Cavalier team a couple years ago. And I also think there is a legacy in Detroit that they are reminded of, that they are aware of, that they are shown film of, and yeah, I think they have to adopt it, even if they didn't want to. You know what I mean? Like even if, or they're encouraged to let it out, to embrace it.
Right.
So.
Right. Kev Berg said he's going on record. The Pistons will not be dangerous in the playoffs. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
But to this comment, Sim, it's funny how they mention the Pistons, and I think there also is a direct correlation. Like you said, this is what we're saying about the Pistons. We're fresh off the Pistons ass whipping that they gave to us, and I think we came into this game with intensity, with physicality from the jump. Like that was one of the things that I noticed. And when you play the Pistons and they do what they do, you better believe you're gonna adjust the next game,
right,
to whoever the victim is.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Ted Blunt said Celtics really needed this win for the second seed hopes. Now the season series is 2-1 Knicks with the last game at MSG in April. Celtics now essentially have to outpace by 2 wins equal to 1 Knicks win to get home court and avoid Philly, Cleveland, or Toronto in the first round. I mean, you know me, all this trying to avoid this person and that person, this team and that team. I'm just win basketball games and let it fall where it's gonna fall. That's how I feel about that. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm glad the Knicks won it, took control of second seed right now, so they control that spot right now. They just got to keep winning. Obviously, there's still a lot of season left. Win streaks, losing streaks, this, that, and the third. But they have so controlled. Even though they have the same record, they have sole possession of that spot right now because they are winning the season series against the Celtics. We're hitting that time where people were saying earlier in the season, you ain't got to worry about it. Don't regular season wins, boom, boom, boom. Well, right now we're at that point where you really do got to worry about it. And because, if we would have already been up 2-0, we'd be up 3-0 right now, not even thinking about the Celtics as far as a tiebreaker is concerned, because we would have already won the tiebreaker. There's still a chance the Celtics could beat us and tie it, and we got to go to more tiebreakers if it's necessary. But we got control of that second seed. Not only that, we got the 4th best record in the league right now. I think the NBA has us as the 4th most powerful team in the league. I think they had Detroit, San Antonio, OKC, and then us. Yeah, that's where they got us right now.
I'll tell you what, from this comment, though, that's the same takeaway I got as well. Worried about matchups and opponents and avoiding, teams.
Yeah.
It is not confident in your team.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%. Worrying about avoiding this team and that team is not confidence at all. That's that's fear, really. I mean, if you think your team is good, play who they play who they play, and you win.
It's like we say in regular season games, you play who's in front of you. That's like we say when guys are out, and you know what I mean. You play who's in front of you. You play who's available,
right?
And you do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Pash Duggar said Detroit got to win those games against the Knicks to be legit. Knicks already are legit because they beat Boston and Detroit in the playoffs. Listen,
last year, right?
Last year. I'll keep going back to it. You know what I'm saying? This is not the same team as last year. This is a different team, a slightly different makeup, obviously a different coach. You know what I mean? So we'll be learning about this team in the playoffs. That's the way I see it with this team here. You know what I mean? It's a different team, and I'm not saying for better or for worse. I'm just saying different. This team is still learning about itself. So I'm not trying to base anything on last year. experience, yeah, playoff experience matters, and it matters more when you've had the same coach. And I'm not saying this as a way to say, see, we should have kept the coach. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have a different coach who has a different style of coaching in the playoffs, right? Who's getting used to how to push the buttons of these players on this particular basketball team. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you can go back to experience, but we don't have Mike Brown's experience. It's not like Mike Brown was here last year with this group. You understand what I'm saying? So you're talking about different sets. You're talking about different coaching strategies for Mike Brown and his staff, different defensive strategies, different offensive strategies that's going to be implemented in the playoffs. And we don't know how that's going to play out in the playoffs yet, right? Because it's different, and it's a learning process. You know what I mean? So that's why it's hard for me to go back to last year's playoffs and say, well, see, we beat Boston and we did this and we did that, because this is new for this team, I think. You know what I mean? For this particular team, not the Knicks, but this group of players and coaches. That's what I mean when I say team.
When you talk about experience, like you said, them retaining their team for the most part, retaining their coach, like they have more to learn from that experience. Like the value from their experience in that playoffs is higher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Than the value, I'll say, that we got.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because that's a monumental lesson that they got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how to win. It shaped who they are today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a new year. Just like they're not the team they were last year. They're clearly better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's based off their experience.
Yeah. You know, so you know, and by no means am I saying that the Knicks can't beat anybody in the playoffs. I'm just saying, you know, we have a different set of obstacles than I think we had last year. You know what I mean? Because, you know, we got some new things going on. That's all I'm saying there. Let's see. Sully A1 said this team's worst enemy is the fans. Yeah, call out players, but when we lose one game, why do we go crazy? That includes me too. I just call out Kata, who was useless today, and that's okay. But when you say we suck, acting like we're in the 8 to 10 seed, yeah, I mean, I trust me, I get it. You know what I mean?
Sounds like us. Right?
Sounds like us. When we was on that losing streak, boy, everybody was like, yo, this team ain't no championship. This team is da-da-da, da-da-da.
Shoot, after the Detroit
everybody.
Loss.
Huh? After what?
I said, shoot, after the Detroit loss.
After the Detroit loss. Right. You know what I'm saying? Fresh off an 8-game winning streak. You know what I mean? Yeah. Vucevic has not been fully integrated into this offense. Stop bashing the man. Yeah, you know, it's going to take a little bit of time for him to, you know, get in. But that's a good pickup for them. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a really good pickup. That was a good move. I don't know what this guy's talking about. R. Garcia, he said, ISO Joe strikes again.
Oh, Joe Mazzulla.
Oh, Joe Mazzulla. Okay.
Isolation plays.
Okay, isolation play. Okay. If the three ball doesn't fall, he has no plan B. What happened to playing team ball on offense? It's my turn, your turn crap. Got to stop, man. It's not winning basketball. It doesn't work, and we'll get even worse in the playoffs. Sorry, guys. It's one game, but knowing your team's potential, it's frustrating. I hope things get better. Go Celtics. You know, I don't watch enough of their games to know, to be honest with you.
I mean, we know they kind of live by the 3, die by the 3.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And now if you keep that in mind, and then you try to think of what if they're not shooting the 3 ball, what's the only, you know what I mean? What can you say that they're doing? and it probably is Jaylen Brown isolation. You know,
I mean,
when
yeah,
Tatum's here, Tatum isolation.
Tatum isolation,
You
right?
know what I
That's
mean? They
true.
didn't have the bigs to kind of integrate, and Booch just got there. They were
Yeah,
praising him after the win the first game,
right.
and now
Now,
one game later he's trash.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
so I agree. I agree with the observation of what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I thought we played very similar to that last year. The Knicks did, and it was almost live and die by the three at times. And if it wasn't that, it was mostly isolation.
Yeah.
And so I could feel what he's saying 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I feel that. I mean, shoot, we heard about this team. I am elite 030. Now y'all say Missoula can't coach. The guy has us the third seed with our best player out and injured. You got to give him that. You know what I'm saying? You know, they're the third seed. They're 34-19. You know, with Jason Tatum out. You know, that's a hell of a coaching job. Got to give him that. It's a hell of a coaching job. Stormy G21 said, bad shooting game for sure. Brad is definitely going to target a scorer in the buyout market. Bring Cam Thomas in and let him score much like Simons did. We need that spark again. I think I saw that Cam Thomas was going to Milwaukee.
Mm.
Yeah, I think he's going to Milwaukee. You know, so you can scratch that off the table. I think scratch that off the table for Celtics or the Knicks.
I'll say this because I watched a bunch of Celtic podcasts as well, trying to get a feel for what they were saying and things. And a lot of the their fan base, pardon me, is torn over Vucevic, pardon me, and Simons, saying Simons spark off the bench. Even though he may not have been like the best player, but he gave them a definitive spark off the bench. So I know you said Cam Thomas is off the table. I could see why they would make that comparison and kind of that. Especially that would be cake. Get your cake, eat it. Get your cake and eat it too. If you got Vooch and you bring in a guy like Cam, but like you said, off the table.
Yeah, off the table. He's going to Milwaukee. Looking for a place he can get some burn, I guess. And see, get some burn. See if he can. Cam Thomas was at one point. People thought this guy was on the cusp, and he's getting no burning, getting no burn in Brooklyn. But we'll see what happens there. We play Indiana tomorrow at home. We expect that this should be a win for the Knicks. What are your expectations with Alvarado tomorrow? Same 25 minutes, 25 minutes. It's going to be, it's going to be crazy after Bad Bunny's halftime show. It was tough. That was a tough halftime show. That joint was dope. Alvarado in New York. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be crazy in the Garden tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it. Like, I want to see how the energy affects him, if it affects him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If he got the jitters or not. You know what I mean? He got one game. He got one game under his belt. You know what I mean? But this is the one. You know what I mean? He said he had about 12, 13 tickets at the Boston game. So I could only imagine. I would only think that's gonna at least double. You know what I mean? At home.
Yeah. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be fun for him. Kev said, "I'm not expecting to win. We can lose 2-0 is given. We have to take it." I agree with you 100%. We got to take it. We can't go in there expecting we're gonna win just by stepping on the court. You know what I'm saying? We've got to go out there and play our brand of basketball.
It's the Pacers, right?
Pacers, yeah.
Yeah, they recently beat OKC. You know what I mean? And they gotta feel like they got our number, man down or not.
Right,
You know what I mean? They gotta feel like, all right, we just, you know what I mean? The same way some of you guys is disregarding Detroit, you know what I mean? And having all that confidence about what happened in the playoffs. You would think they feel the same way about us, right?
Yeah.
With a man down or not.
Right. You would think a couple men down because, Miles Turner's no longer there, et cetera, et cetera. You would think that they feel that way. You would think
or
so.
they're going to give their best effort to try to beat us, whether they feel that way or not. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, 3 times said this Knicks identity is 50-50. You don't know which one shows up, the team versus Boston or the team versus Dallas. That's true. That's true.
Well, hopefully the team versus Dallas is far removed. You know what I mean? Far removed. Maybe they stayed in Dallas. Maybe that team stayed in Dallas.
Right. No doubt. Well, Tony, I appreciate it, man. I know you got an early morning.
No doubt, man.
You know what I'm saying? I'm glad we could get a Losers Lounge in.
For sure. It's been a minute. You know what I mean? The wins were far and few between.
For a while. Yeah. But we started February off right.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. We definitely appreciate you. Have a great, I was about to say great rest of your week, and have a great rest of your night. Look forward to catching you tomorrow night. Ladies and gentlemen, we out. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.